What's happening, weirdos? Holy smokes. It's Wayne Brady. Wayne Brady is here, everybody, and he is thoughtful, he's deep, he's interesting, he's hilarious, and he's just made of absolute talent. I'm so glad he came on the show. It was a thrill to get to sit down with Wayne Brady. Incredible. He's so fun. I'm so glad you guys are here to listen. Do check out his new show. It's called Wayne Brady, The Family Remix. You can stream it on Freeform or Hulu or rent it or buy it on Prime. It's incredible. It's unlike any, even calling it a reality show isn't quite right. It's like a documentary about a family, and there are dynamics that I promise you have not seen before, and it's got Wayne. It's so funny. It's so interesting. Wayne Brady, The Family Remix is available now to stream. So also, the only other thing we're going to plug up top is my dates: Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Denver, Raleigh, North Carolina, Indianapolis, Seattle, and Portland. So please go to PeteHolmes.com for tickets to all of those. I can't wait to see everybody. That's so fun. These are all so many of my favorite places. PeteHolmes.com. Hope to see you on the road. Get yourself some Modern Mammals. Get yourself into this show. Get into it.
Which DC character
you could be?
I can be to be fired. You've already had Cyborg.
Look, no offense to Ron Funches. He did a great job. But if we thought look, that's mean. Ron, thank you for doing it. But if we thought, for real, but if we thought you would have done it, that would have been fun.
That's okay,
let's say parallel universe.
Well, I got another one that I could be. That if I came on, I could be Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific.
Which I think that you would know.
Red suit?
No.
See, I'm picturing Shazam.
No, Mr. Terrific has it's a dark blue or black suit.
Okay.
And he has a mask that's kind of a cross that covers his face. He's in the league now, and in different iterations. His whole thing is he's Black Tony Stark. And he's created these things called the terrific spheres that hover about him. He's in the same group of the league as Booster Gold.
I don't know Booster Gold.
See, I'm a straight up comic nerd.
I can see that.
Like for real.
I like it. I'm a little embarrassed. Like I don't want to let you down. As I'm not really the only gatekeeper of who we fire. There are Matt McCarthy who writes them with us. He would know everyone you're talking about.
Well, Matt, get on your shit.
Yeah, get on your shit. I have a question. Do you want to produce them? They're so expensive.
Really?
Yeah, nobody wants to front the money. It sucks.
Wait, shut up.
I'm calling. Look, I don't care if you guys hear a little business chat. I call companies and I go, we'll give you, what is it? It's like 20 million YouTube impressions and then 50 million social impressions, and I can't sell that? What's going on?
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
Well, I want to be in one, and I'll help to produce it. you got to do what you got to do.
The slimiest guy on a podcast going like, will you produce it?
Well, and then the rule goes, sure, mister.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which I heard you talking about when you did Whose Line. I actually heard you freestyle about. I have so many things. I'm so happy you're here. But you talked about kind of like when you did the pilot, I guess, that they were kind of, I don't want to say Motowning, but a little lowball.
I love how you use the
as a verb.
Come on, I love that.
It's a thing.
I love that. Yeah, in the pilot, but
it's all work. It all worked out.
It's all scale and relativity, right?
Yeah.
That the Wayne that got Whose Line Is It Anyway, going back to, I guess we shot 97 or 98. I forget when the ABC version went on, but I was on the British version first. Mm-hmm. The Wayne that did that was happy to make, I don't know, $5,000 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe $5,000.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I remember the first show I did where they said it was $1,000. Look, I'm not saying $1,000 is nothing, but I'm saying
it's scale.
Flipped out. I was like, I can't quadruple digits, really, 4 if you count the 1.
That's the thing. And those are the things I think in gratitude that you have to remember sometimes when you're lucky enough to, of course, like they say, today's price isn't yesterday's price or tomorrow's price or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember specifically when I got cast, up to that point, I'd done a lot of guest starring stuff and arcs on things and was cool.
Yeah.
And I'd been a regular on a VH1 series with Barry Sobel.
Was
A
this
very
like a
little
talking head
known
thing? Yeah.
little show on VH1 called Vinyl Justice.
Oh.
The producers of RuPaul Drag Race, they did that first here.
Okay.
And not a very good show. Not because of them. No shade to Randy, the team. They were awesome. The chemistry between Barry and I, no bueno. But when you get that little bit of money,
Yeah.
I used to drive to San Diego from here 2 hours to sing in wedding bands for $50.
Yes.
Back in the day.
That's right.
So when you give me a check for a couple $1,000,
Yeah.
are you kidding me?
Are you nuts?
And I'm on TV?
Right. Forget it.
Forget it.
It's almost sad to me that like social media, not as a whole, I'm just saying it takes away some of the allure of like the first time lots of people are watching you on a screen. You know what I mean? Because you
It's
and I are both
different.
old enough to be like, holy shit. Like I remember I was on the news when I was a kid and, stay up to watch me at Fenway Park just with a sign because they thought maybe I made the news. And like, that's a thrill. And now you can, you can be live on Instagram right now and maybe people will watch.
And God, it sounds like we're sliding into the old guy talk.
It's fine.
I remember when show business was about talent.
And tea was hot.
So I get it. And when tea was hot, when you left it out, I get it. But we do live in a world where someone's first brush with social media, it's either fame or infamy.
Yeah.
Could be because they are the Haktua girl.
Yeah.
That's your first. That's
Who was I?
That's your thing. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
everybody knows my name.
Yeah. For about
And
20
that's
minutes.
nuts.
Like the hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband too. Remember, he was kind of one of the first
Antoine
ones.
Dodson.
By the way, that song slaps.
Oh,
You
the
know
song?
what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Where
yeah.
they auto-tuned it?
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
It makes me emotional because they put in like a big chorus. That's
Because
like,
it was one of the first times that
and I was
anyone
like,
had done that. Remember when
Yeah,
those guys,
yeah.
like that team,
Yeah.
started doing that? And that was like at the beginning of the social media thing.
Yeah.
Funny story. Well, no, not funny because I hate when folks say that because then now it's got to be funny. Not a funny story.
Yeah. Here's a story.
Interesting. Here are words. When Mr. Dodson broke,
Yeah.
a friend of mine named Callie managed him. She had the brilliant idea. She was one of the first people at that time. She's like, you mean there are these people whose talent is negligible or questionable, but for some reason they have this burst online on this thing?
Yeah.
Ad dollars. I'll manage you. I'll help you manage your 15 minutes and turn it into something. So she worked with him. I don't know whatever really became. I don't know if maybe he has a huge recording career overseas. Maybe there are tons of Japanese people that love
hide your kids, hide your wife.
Maybe there's a dance remix. Hide your kids and your wife. Maybe. I don't know.
We can't know.
We
Katie
can't
can look
know.
it up. Do you know where Antoine Dodson is now? Well, keep going with your story. We'll have the update.
And so she was one of the first to say, I'm going to be
Like
a
the
manager.
15-minute manager.
In that film.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant.
It is.
Now, I think that a lot of these kids they are savvy enough that they do it themselves, or now they're with. We're signed with agencies that we've worked our entire lives. It's like, oh my God, I'm with CAA or with William Morris. And then the dude's like, so am I. I stream. I'm on Fortnite, bitch.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you're right.
Yeah.
And I cannot knock you for it.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Good for you. But I remember when I saw Antoine Dodson, I think he did Kimmel or one of those. And I was kind of like, I wouldn't say sad, but you're watching like a Tibetan sand sculpture. Like it's so fragile. Like it's going to be blown away. And it's not like it was valid when it existed and invalid when it didn't exist. But he came out and he looked really good. Like clearly they got him a stylist.
Yes.
He looked really cool and he didn't. But the Haktua girl is easier because Antoine looked like he living in the projects, right? I mean, it's harder to like roast this kid.
Yeah, he would.
I'll roast the
I
Haktua
applaud
girl.
people that I think
Much faster.
That's why I can't hate on people, especially musicians and some younger comics that. If that's their way in, I mean, if that had been around when we were younger, it just would have been another.
Yeah, we would have done it.
It'd been another place.
It's like Theo Von was on Road Rules, and I remember coming up, I was like, "It's the guy from Road Rules."
Holy
like,
shit!
I was
After all this time, I just went.
You were today
He was
years
on
old.
Road Rules.
He was on Road Rules, and I'm not saying like I actively had disdain for him, but I remember thinking that was corny, And now I'm like, who fucking cares? Any bus that pulls into the bus stop, he got on it, and now
in, as long as. Now I've adopted my mindset because I was that old man in the rocker shaking his fist. But now I've seen enough talent, especially musically. I've seen enough talent self-seed online that has grown into something real. Like, I don't know if you follow a lot of music. A guy named Teddy Swims.
Teddy Swims.
Oh my God, this
Sounds
dude's
like a
voice.
children's book.
Oh, yes it does. And Teddy swims because Penelope drowned. The end.
Teddy should have swam faster.
Teddy is so dope, but I remember meeting him online on TikTok because of his videos.
Yeah.
And following him and talking to him, and then watching him blow up, and watching a lot of music artists now using that as its way in, and it's accepted. I go, okay, social media is good for that. And for some people in comedy's still, to me, a little. If you can't ply your trade live, I don't know if I have as much respect. For you?
Yeah. Well, I've seen people doing stand-up on TikTok where it's clearly a fake audience, and like they're just trying to like. I can even hear them talking to me, being like, "Well, what's the difference?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but there is. It's like pornography and sex. I do, of course, I do, but you can't quite put. It's not easy to quantify. Meaning, masturbating to a pornographic movie is a sexual thing, but it's not sex. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the chasm there. I'm like, you did technically.
Yeah, you did it.
You did something.
But then the difference is then you're doing it in front of other people.
Well, doing it when it counts. Well, so this brings us to you, obviously. One of my first real fascinations with you, I've been such a fan. I was thinking about the first time I watched Whose Line and just being blown away. I don't think you were on the first one I watched. And I remember really being taken with Ryan. Tall,
come on,
big birdie kind of guy. I say that as a tall, big birdie kind of guy. So I was projecting myself onto him. He just seemed so calm. We don't need to waste too much time talking about how great Ryan was. But I remember being like, what is this? Like, I just didn't know what was happening.
Brilliant.
Then I saw you and I was like, next level. Like, I don't mind. He would agree. There's just something going on with you. Here's a million improv questions that I can't wait to ask you.
Oh, please.
One is, do you feel a little put out, like being known as a great, like Jonathan Winters, like I can do it. I can create worlds and have fun
Jonathan.
And rhyme. Now I'm talking about you, but like I can rhyme, I can sing, I can do it. But like you and I both know, part of the skill of improvising is, you correct me if I'm wrong, but like creating a certain atmosphere within yourself where you feel like doing that. Like it might be a million different rituals and places. It might be a meal, it might be a mood. It might just be knowing that there's a sanctioned place for it called Whose Line Is It Anyway? It's like going under your bed with a flashlight in a comic book. There you go. You know what I mean? So there's a magic appropriateness to it. But then you go on the morning radio. I go on morning radio. Nobody says like, let's drop a beat.
Nobody asked you to come on. All right. It's Jimmy and the Eagle. It's 6 a.m. playing the Tempe Improv. One of my favorite guys here. He's been on HBO.
Yeah.
With his sitcom, sleeping. Love the show, sleeping. And man, I
can see them reading the Wikipedia page.
Great. Theology school. God bless you. So Pete, welcome to Tempe. So what's it like? It's pretty damn hot here, huh, right. Pete? You got a joke for that?
But see, I used to think that was pressure, and I wonder if this is how you feel about improvising. Now I'm just like, my move there, which isn't available in the world of musical improv specifically, which is what people really want you to do a lot of the time, I have to imagine. I can just say like, what kind of question is that? It's 7 a.m. I'm trying to sell tickets in Tempe. It's hot. I was asleep 45 minutes ago. You think I'm just going to turn it on for you in your bald spot? Like
I do the same thing.
Right. What do you mean?
I do that exactly. But it took me a while, years, to learn that I had that right.
Yeah.
That I didn't have to, that I had to learn. Oh, and I don't want it to turn into self-help time, but I had to learn.
It is self-help time. It's the show.
Learn a lot. Yay!
It is. You're in the right lane.
But the tools that I needed to develop, because to this very day, I've just come to the point where I've accepted that I am very, very good at this art. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say I'm the best because there's always somebody else. But you know what? I'll even own, in my experience so far in working with other improvisers that do musical improvisation and whatnot, A, I know that I'm looked at as an OG in that world. And B, whatever the peculiar little skill sets that stacked on top of each other that God gave me that led to me being able to do this lane, I know that I'm great at this. Cool. Just came to that point a while ago because...
To own it, you mean?
To own it, because I wouldn't let myself. Because I felt that I was never supposed to be here doing that. When I auditioned for Whose Line, I was in a group called the House Full of Honkies. And we moved out here from Orlando, Florida.
Was it all black group?
No.
Because that would be funny.
Which is, yes. But we thought it was funny because it was it was 6 white people and me.
Reverse living color.
So, right. So the House Full of Honkies, truth in advertising. So we all moved out here together, including my buddy Jonathan Mangum that co-hosts Let's Make a Deal with me. And he's a Whose Line regular too. So we moved out here.
Is he the kind of like, he looks like a greaser?
A greaser?
Forget it. Sorry.
Maybe.
I thought that would be a quick yes. I didn't want it to be a whole...
No, he's a min... If you had to type him, because
bowling shirts,
I love your Big Bird. He's the other big. He's the more handsome Big Bird.
Oh,
that kind of is Ryan, but a couple inches shorter.
Okay, I bet I know him. I just wanted to give him some respect.
And they used to make Doogie Howser jokes, but he is kind of Ryan-esque.
Okay, all right.
That the thing, even when I was in the group, I never gave myself the grace that I belonged in the group. I felt unfunny because I never intended to be funny. I started taking improv classes in Orlando with this group called SAC Theater because my friend Claire that I met said, "You're funny. You ought to come take improv class for myself and my husband." "What's improv?" "Oh, it's improvised theater where you make it up." I said, "Oh, that's what I do at home." Ha ha ha. So I always did it as a way to find community and a way to just keep sharp and stay on stage. But I never thought I was funny. I always played my role, which I was the 7th guy in back. You guys be the stars in this. Me, I'm the actor. I do Shakespeare. I've actually toured and done the Bard. I do serious things. I blah, blah, blah. I had that thing in my head.
And you'll support it like structurally.
Right.
I'll help the narrative because you guys don't know.
I absolutely would say some pretentious shit like that. In my mind, it's like no, if you need a story, I'll help with the narrative and I'll buoy you and your choices lead you to... I was like, that's the guy, because when I move out to LA, I'm going to audition because I've already worked. I'm going to audition and maybe I'll get on a soap or something, but then a sitcom or a drama. That's what I really want. Is I want to be like Denzel, and then I'll go to Broadway. Maybe I'll do stuff like this, blah, 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 all that stuff. So when I find myself at Whose Line callbacks, the imposter syndrome started there in the room because I was like, why am I here? I am not funny.
Wow.
I am smart. And I can rhyme.
Fast.
And I'm fast and I know all the things.
High processing.
And I'm great at characters, I guess, but I'm not funny. I know what that show's about. It's like if you do a game, world's worst person to take on a bus. That scares the shit out of me. I don't know who's the world's worst person to take on a bus. Why am I here? And I got the show. And for years, every time I showed up, I still would show up like, what? Why am I? Why are you talking to me? Why am I doing this? Why am I? I don't understand why you people are I couldn't take it in. I could not accept that gift. In fact, I fought it so much so that cut back to the radio host. "Hey, Wayne, you're playing the Tempe Improv. Okay. So tell me, me and the Eagle, we want to know, is that stuff really made up? Yeah. Blue, we got a caller on line 1. He don't make that shit up. Hey, Wayne, Merv said you don't make it up. Let's put on a beat. Hey, Casey, can you does some anemic beatbox at 6 in the morning. I'm like,
okay, Merv smokes.
Okay, here we go. Yo, 6 o'clock. I'm hungry like a dog, maybe a beagle. I'm sitting here with the eagle. You got the sound effects and tap dance for you.
Yeah.
Great. At some point, I got fed up because I didn't want to be a one-trick pony. I didn't want to be respected just for that, just for Whose Line, so I learned that answer in the sense of
the roasty answer.
Of pride.
Yeah.
Pride/roast.
Yeah.
Not to hurt feelings.
No.
But hey, Wayne, it's 6:00. Yeah, it is 6:00. Well, we're gonna throw on because I want the people listening that are gonna pay tickets to come and see me. Picture what I do on Whose Line, and you're gonna be seeing that live. If I do it here for you right now, you trying to beatbox in your studio and you doing the thing, yeah, I can do it, but it's not going to be what I do.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to cheat these people out of what I do, because what I do is fucking amazing.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. But it took you a while to own that. It's funny, you don't get a laminated comedy ID. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I feel you saying. Like you were waiting for someone, just as I was. So much of the the first 10 years of comedy is like waiting for someone to say like, you're a comedian. You're one of us and you're funny. You know what I mean?
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, well, welcome to the club. And that's why we're obsessed with our peers' opinions of us and all that, and credits and all these things.
But I'd imagine, and on camera, because I was talking to you back then, I am such a fan.
Oh, thanks.
Like when I tell you, I think I started watching when you first broke onto the scene, and really though, when you started doing your sitcom, and then when I researched that it was your story, and it was your thing, and you were...
Well, that's a lot of imposter syndrome in that show. Yeah, that's what it is.
Why I think I connected with you so much, because when I was watching, it's like, oh, I'm not the only one that feels this way.
Yeah.
And you gave people a glimpse into the life of somebody who does something, such a subjective art as comedy, that I'm going to make a room full of people laugh. The audacity.
The gall.
The gall that if there's 100 people here, 100 of you will laugh.
That's right.
I'm going to make all of you laugh.
It's true insanity. Until
it's
you
crazy.
realize, but can you talk about there is a moment, there's like a membrane you cross through, because I now am on the other side of this membrane, and now people just think you're a funny person. And by the way, all the, not even haters, but people that are analyzing and trying to understand comedy and maybe trying to do it on their own, if they watch and they go, that wasn't that funny. Like I used to analyze Seinfeld's records, and he had a line and it gets this huge laugh. I'm like, it's not that funny. Because you go to an open mic, you say the same line, nobody's going to laugh. But there is a membrane. You find your voice, and then you're sanctioned. And now I go on morning radio, and they're just happy you're there, and they're primed. Now you're not just a person. And when I do stand-up, you're not just a person. They're your fans, and they're like, we know you're a spiritual person. We know you're this way. We know. And then they're ready to go. So you work so hard.
That step, which is, hey, folks.
Yeah.
This is me. Let me tell you about me. Like me, like me.
It's 15 years of every opening joke has to explain who you are and your perspective. That's where I got jokes like, I know it's weird that I'm here. I look like a youth pastor. You have to say that right off the bat and be like, and I still kind of do it, but you had to be like, it's weird for me to be out this late. You know, it's like Ray Romano stuff. You have to say like, my kids. Yeah, you have to. Now you go.
It's the guy. That's the guy whose life is like mine.
That's
because of his kid.
Right, exactly. And Seinfeld had jokes where he goes, I'm not gay, but I'm thin, clean, and neat. You know, like he'd have to like explain who he is. That's a lot of information in there. Thin, clean, neat.
But there's information that I think, and not having done a lot of stand-up or started up. Now in my act, I do incorporate a bit of stand-up, but in watching masters of stand-up and appreciating a well-crafted joke, it's when someone says, oh, well, I'm funny, that's cool. And like when I teach an improv class, someone goes, well, I can do that and I'm funny. It's like, that's great. I'm not taking away from you, but you also have to understand that there is a science. And whether you're willing to study the science or not, I think that's what separates the people that are great at this subjective art, because you've studied it.
Look, sorry, that brings us back to TikTok. There's a big difference to Saturday. You had your coffee, you're with your friends, you're laughing, you're in the zone because you're in the most comfortable place for you. You pick up the phone and you shoot that sketch. That's where a lot of magic comes from. But you and I, against old guy alert, it's like show business is being funny at Friday at 8 o'clock, or if it's not that, it's being funny at 11 a.m. on Hollywood Squares.
Showing up.
Show up. And that brings me back to the other thing I'm fascinated to talk to you about is you seem to relate or resonate with the idea that we all have like a way to it's almost like conjuring up a spirit of playfulness, you could say.
Yes.
Like, I want to be that version of Wayne. We've already talked about, you did the Bard, Shakespeare. There's all these different flavors. Now I'm going to go out and I'm going to dazzle. I'm going to show off. And when I say show off, I don't mean in a bad way. I mean, like, that's what they want me to do. Do the thing. So you're in your green room, or it's a day you're going to tape Whose Line, or you have your show that night. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you can tell me? How do you prime yourself to be in that mood, to want? Because you and I both know there's certain, like, Saturdays you're with your family and you're having a great time, and you do. There's an instrumental song on the radio. I do this. You just start freestyling because you're happy.
Yes.
It's your. How do you bring it out when maybe you're jet lagged? Maybe you're doing a show in Melbourne, Australia. Wayne, how do we bring out that spirit?
I think it's different for each of us. I don't do anything specific. I think my switch is, and this has changed from time to time as you get older, my switch is just being there. And I can operate at a level of gratitude that I wasn't capable of before.
And that unlocks it?
For me. So I'm being very, very specific.
Yeah.
So if I am backstage, whether it is at the Tempe Improv or at a big theater, or like when I leave here, I'm going to go tape an episode of After Midnight.
There you go.
When I'm backstage, I don't have a ritual except now I'm dressed up. Yep. I'm ready to go. I know what's expected of me.
Yep.
Isn't it cool that no matter what else just happened, isn't it cool that there are enough people that go, we got Wayne Brady on the show. And when he comes out, oh my God, he's going to kill it. I don't know what he's going to do, but he's going to kill it.
Yeah.
I know that.
But you think about that consciously.
And I think about that consciously, and I have a level of gratitude now of like, wow, who knew? You could never have told me that I would be able to walk into certain doors and rooms and people are happy by me walking in in anticipation.
I have an opener about
That's
that.
So
I
cool.
go, this is the only job you show up and people are already clapping.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I just arrived.
Yes.
I just arrived. That's a preposterous job.
That's
and
pretty
it's something
cool
to be grateful for. And also to join you. So gratitude being the opposite of fear. I don't know if you've heard that. You can't feel afraid and grateful at the same time.
No.
So when I'm about to go out, I go, I can't believe one person showed up. I say that every time. I go, I can't believe one person showed up. And it sounds like an ego trip, but I don't think it is. To think about a couple. Sometimes I just did Pittsburgh, and people were like, we drove from Ohio. So I'm like, these people drove your San Diego length 2 hours. They're driving 2 hours to go to the show. It's their night. They got a sitter. They got a hotel. That's a big deal. And you think about that, suddenly you're not anxious anymore. And that feeds into why you don't feel like you need to dance for the DJ, because really you're just,
because
doing
it
it for those
stops it
people.
from being, oh man, it stops it from being about you, which as the performer,
that's exactly
the
right.
ironic thing is, yes, of course it's about you. Your name is on the marquee. You do this whole thing. Yes, objectively it's about you. But the way that I can look at it now after all these years, it used to be when I first started touring, because to my knowledge, and if this can be refuted, cool, just tag me or hit me. To my knowledge, outside of like the Second City touring shows, when I started touring right after Whose Line blew up, and I talked to my agent Stacy, I said, I want to tour like a stand-up. I want to show up at these comedy clubs and theaters doing improvisation. I was one of the first people to tour doing improv, like just doing that. That was the thing. Folks were showing up in droves to see that guy from TV make stuff up. Just pull a show out your ass.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it at first until the first night when I show up on, I have to do an improv show and I'm not with my group, the House Full of Honkies, being the seventh guy in line. They're expecting. You. So it's me, and I took a couple of my friends along with me to try to duplicate the Whose Line format. I was still playing with What Do I Do on stage. I hated every one of those shows.
Yeah.
Because the pressure was so, I felt it like, I have to make you laugh.
I get it.
I have to make you laugh so much.
You want to be a surprise.
You have to be a surprise.
You want to sneak in and steal the
Ta-da!
show.
Look at that.
There's such a difference. I think about this all the time. It's a phenomenon in show business. Being the relief, being the guy, like I'm on a show. Let's say I'm at the comedy store tonight. There's 12 comics, and you go up fifth, and you're the surprise best one. That's so fun.
It's him.
And you were the best.
Yes.
Let's just say you just brought it. That's so different from being like, and the ticket was $40, and you better be the best one.
Right.
Totally different
It's
energy. You have to do it.
There's no
so you
option.
went from being like the not the relief, but there is some anxiety when you watch Whose Line. You're like, please be good. And there's a relief when you would come in. So that's part of the enjoyment. And then you'd murder. Very different from I bought a ticket, now go.
So
kind
go
of a nightmare.
And do it. And I know the first couple of years that I toured, I lost friends. I lost friends.
Doing what?
Now knowing, I'm a big advocate for mental health and I talk a lot about my journey and everything. I know now what I was going through with my depression and also the ADHD and a host of other things that guy on stage who is supposed to be playing, I'm doing improv, I'm supposed to be playing and having a good time for you, was so angry that if anyone on stage with me, any of my buddies, made a choice in a scene that in my mind, I've already written scenes as we're doing them because this is the maximum funny. This is the only way it's going to be fun. You didn't do it. You didn't do it. The show sucked and they're going to hate me. And
Yeah.
and going to bed with that anxiety and then getting up with that anxiety and then taking it out. I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable.
I know exactly what you're talking. Believe it or not, my improv career, very different level. But once you start taking it seriously, the shadow side of that art form and it's one of the reasons I don't like doing it anymore, because I will be like a little obsessive, or on myself, actually. I'll be like, oh, fuck, they said this, I said that, I ruined the scene,
Nice.
I should have said this, I went for a cheap laugh. I'll replay it for weeks and weeks and weeks.
You have to let that go.
Yeah, exactly. But it sounded like you needed to learn how to do that.
I had to learn. Thank God for therapy.
Yeah.
Thank God
When
for
did you
actually-
start going? Oh, go ahead.
No, it's I started going. I wish I could say I started going a while after all that happened. Really, I didn't take therapy seriously until 10 years ago.
You were kind of gaming it a little bit?
I was gaming the system.
Yeah.
I spent so much money in various therapists' office doing the thing. I think that people who think that they're smarter than the person with the degree sit down.
See, you were doing the scene thing with them. It's like, well, you should have said this. Then you really would have got me to cry, but you went that way.
Yeah, but so I'll tell you what I think you want to hear. Oh, and now I feel better.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right.
Didn't work, of course, and I became better on stage enough to figure out what my thing was and how I could stop obsessing and begin to have fun and so I was actually having a good time. I actually became a good scene partner
Instead of just the madman.
instead of the mad
top.
crazy man.
Yeah, the orchestrator, the director.
Right, and I didn't have to be the director if you're with people that you trust, which is why I love being on stage with Ryan and Colin and like Greg Proops and my buddy Jonathan. It's such a relief. You know that if you throw something up,
They got you.
they've got you, and you know that thing that improvisers and sketch guys say. You say, they got your back.
Yeah.
And for someone like me, who my stage persona is radically different than the Wayne at home. Not sad clown, but I'm a fairly uptight and serious person.
Yeah.
Who retreats into his books. I love to read my books and I write and I do my whole thing. Basically, in therapy when they say that we're always trying to heal our inner child and we're trying to play and do the. When I'm on stage doing improv or I'm performing or even having fun with you now, this is Lil Wayne getting a chance to play with another kid.
Inviting him out.
Because I didn't get a chance to play with other kids much.
Yeah.
So I get to play with other kids and I get to have fun and
that's the thrill of it,
and
right?
that's the thrill.
You
And
reparent
that's
him.
what feels good. And that's why I do that little prayer of gratitude, because I'm like, oh, if I've done nothing right in therapy and learned a lot about myself, at least I have learned to have fun doing this thing that I enjoy doing. And that little guy
Yes.
can where else do you get paid a buttload of money if you reach a certain point to walk on stage and go, you give me a city, and now I'm just gonna make up a song about being in your city. Okay, bye. I'm great.
Yeah.
That's silly.
Yeah.
It's stupid. And then I get to pretend to be a bat, or now I'm jumping off and making the sound effects. It's ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
But in the ridiculousness of it, I found joy.
I hear all of that, and because I'm doing some trauma work currently, parts work, so child self and all the protectors and all of that, and I'm realizing now what we're both doing with that gratitude, going like, I can't believe one person showed up. Really, there's another way to phrase that and say the same thing, which is I'm saying to my child self, like, look. To me, trauma work is all just look. It's like you're looking this way. You're looking at the past. You're looking at the present like it's the past. And trauma work feels like this. Someone just going, just look. Look at your family. Look at your job. Look at your life. Look at your present moment. You know what I mean?
Because you've been shocked into,
of course,
whatever the trauma was, we're shocked into. So using the analogy of looking, you can't look around if you're like this.
Yeah, that's right.
The entire time dealing with whatever's in front of you.
That's right. You're paralyzed. Fight. It's all fight, flight, freeze, right? So or fawn is another one. But you're also like, I think if I stop looking at this, my mother will die or something. You know what I mean? It's like,
wow.
BJ Novak has this incredible joke. I quote it all the time. It's one of those, it's a made up premise. So I take slight fault. I'll deduct points for that. Meaning, a comedian says a premise and you're like, that's not real. But it doesn't matter. It's a great joke. He's like, sometimes when I'm on an airplane, I look next to the guy and go, next to me, and I go, do you think I can crash this plane just by thinking about it? Which is a great joke. And the reason I love it is because, most of us think we can crash a plane just by thinking about it. Most of us are bolstering up all sorts of realities, whether or not, that's like a OCD thing, like when it's overt and you really know, if I don't touch this, my family will die. But I think in a much subtler way, Child Pete is like, I can't leave the house. Like, I can't leave the house I grew up in. Mom needs me. And you're going, and talk about money, spend a lot of money going like, you don't live there and you don't live there anymore. And you haven't been there and they haven't died. So that's not true.
But that was your job.
That was my job, exactly.
That was your self-ascribed job.
And it takes a lot of programming to believe that that's your job, and it takes a lot of unprogramming, it seems, to believe that that's not your job. So when Wayne goes like, holy shit, people want me to just sing a song about Pittsburgh, that is you inviting your child self to go like, look, whatever you were frozen in fear over isn't happening anymore. This is happening. This is happening. And I got you. You took Child Wayne to that show. You know what I mean? Sometimes after I do trauma work, I lift weights because I just want to show my child self how strong I am. He loves it. Like I'm my own dad. You know when your dad's arms, holy shit, or you punch him in the stomach? I just want to show him.
No. No, I don't.
Tell me about that.
No, I don't, which is...
No dad?
Yes.
I mean, obviously you had
yes.
There was sperm involved, but no father.
I was created in a comedy laboratory.
Drew Carey with a lab coat.
Hey, look at that. I made a black guy. Thanks, Drew. Thanks, Drew.
That's what he would say, too.
He would.
I made a black guy.
That's exactly. Huh? Okay, guys. All right. Yeah.
When I did Hollywood Squares, real sidebar, because we were about to go to a really interesting place, I said that Drew Carey, he was wearing a jacket. I go, you look like you sell magic in a shop down by the pier. And he goes, he didn't miss a beat. He goes, you look like you buy magic in the shop down at the pier. And I'm like, it was such a dog sniffing each other butt comedian mutual respect moment.
That's Drew.
I don't know him.
Oh, you don't know Drew?
I don't know him that well. And he's in a square above me. I'm making fun of him and he makes fun of me back. I was like, that's how we say hello.
I love that.
You know what I mean? Isn't that cool?
One of the best, man.
But yeah,
I love that cat.
But you're happy when to be outdrawn by Drew Carey. So anyway, no dad.
Oh, right. Going back to that. No, I
laugh because of the absurdity of the segue, not the situation.
I did have a father, and I also say that because at any point I love to flip any racist stereotypes or tropes. So suck it, any racist watching who love to dig into the thing about black men and their families. My father was not physically around because he was in the military, and he was a combat engineer. So he was always being moved around. He fought in Nam, did a couple tours in Nam, and then from there was always someplace. And he made the choice early on to ask my grandmother to raise me so that I'd have the same upbringing that he did. In a nutshell, my folks on my dad's side are from the U.S. Virgin Islands, from St. Thomas and St. Croix. Very strict island upbringing. Education is very, pretty much an immigrant mentality. So education is paramount, and so I was raised by my grandmother at his behest. So I wasn't raised around my mother either. So those are all the issues that I'm working on now. And if you want to see me work on them, check out my show, Wayne Brady, The Family Remix, on Hulu, streaming now and on Freeform.
Edit that out.
So that's all the shit that I deal with.
Yeah,
so,
your show's incredible. People should absolutely be watching The Family Remix.
Because I'm trying to...
Because you think it's just like a celebrity show and you're like, oh no, I've never seen anything like this. No. Just to give it a little plug.
This was prime...
It wasn't something you could do. It's something you should do. It's very interesting. You should do that.
I did the show, and I tell people, in a way, I did the show. Well, we did the show as a family for reasons. I did the show for self-accountability. I was like, you know what? If it takes a friggin' TV show for me to say X, Y, and Z truths, then I'm going to do that.
That's like Gerard. Did you watch Gerard's show?
That was so deep, and wasn't even funny.
No.
And personally awkward. Like folks online where I was cringing is awkward. Said, it's supposed to be.
But he couldn't confront his dad without making it a show. And his dad was kind of like calling him out on that. And that's the part I always remember. And Gerard's like, this is how I had to do it.
That's his way.
It's the only way I could
do it. Which I completely get.
Yeah.
I completely get that. So I was raised by my grandmother. So my dad was always a satellite presence, and I love being a father so much, and I'm such a hands-on dad. It boggles my mind because I didn't know him well, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him before he passed, about wanting to be around his son. And because I couldn't imagine, I could not imagine not being in the same place as my kid and seeing these moments like, hey, punch me, teach me to shave, all that stuff. Right. He was over here. So if he's in Germany, either I get a new pair of shoes from dad, which thanks dad, or a hat from Stuttgart or something, or Wayne, listen to me, or blah blah blah, or I call your dad. That's not getting on a plane to come in. Next day, knock knock.
No.
Hey Junior, that 6'2" big old G.I. Joe beats my ass, because that's the old school that we come from. So in my mind, my dad was a satellite for taking care of me monetarily, and discipline, not love.
They'd call him with the bat signal?
They would call him with the bat signal, and there were times when
he had to have been planning that trip home anyway.
No. I know my dad. There are certain times.
He flew home just to discipline you?
Because my dad loved his mom, and I have enough of my dad in me now to get him.
You know that?
Because I would probably do the same thing. He would, because I was a good kid. It isn't like I did a lot of things, but my household was so strict that even me talking back a little bit, like in my house, yes, sir, no, ma'am, chores, the whole nine, you do that, the old go get me a switch, or it's a leather belt or whatnot, that type of upbringing. Yeah. So me staying out, because now I'm 14 or 15, and kids always push. No, Mom, I want to stay out, Grandma. Don't talk to me. Well, I want to. Oh, you do? Boop, 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 boop. Playing smack. So my whole thing of him was, Dad either is going to take care of me, or he's going to beat my ass.
I think about your dad checking in, and they're like, are you business or travel? I'm going to beat my son.
Oh, we've upgraded you, sir. We've given you more leg and arm room, so you can practice your swing.
You can find a switch in the overhead compartment.
Thank you so much. In the event of you having a 16-year-old, there's a belt. You're like, oh, and there's a phone cord.
Oh, no.
So I grew up with this disciplinarian that was over here. And also who, when I decided to start acting when I was 16, I made that choice and I started working professionally. They didn't love it because I wasn't going to school, and I didn't go to college. I dropped out. I ditched all of the scholarships that I had, caused a whole big fracas. Like one of those after school special things. You don't understand. You don't. No son of mine is nigga.
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna act.
Immigrants.
It's that thing.
Yeah.
It's that thing. And now I understand where they came from because I want nothing but the best for my daughter. She's at Loyola. She's getting her degree. She's gotten offers to do things. I'm like, please don't drop out to do. I get them now.
Yeah.
But then we did this. It wasn't until I was 21 that I was shooting a show in Conyers, Georgia, in the heat of the night, the old TV series with Carol O'Connor, that I was like, Dad, I made it. And my dad called me. He's like, son, I'm only 15 minutes up the road. I'm living in this other town. I got to visit him. He was on the phone with one of his Army buddies. Hey, Junior's in town, and he's on a TV show, and he's doing this. So even just that little bit of approval from him.
That's how dads do it, by the way.
Was so
they have
great.
to say to someone else.
They can't say it to you. So he never got to see all the other stuff.
Yeah.
But at least he saw that. And so even in the trauma work, I realized that so much of my career and even life is trying to be seen and liked by the other kids who didn't see and like me, trying to be seen and liked by my family.
Right. So did you make, as I did, the association that being special was being safe?
Yes.
I like your face.
Yes. Now,
Because I watched you go like,
oh,
hell yeah.
Dude, now add the layer of being special is safe. Now add the level of being raised in the South and being a young black kid who when you're saddled with the mantle of special, because I was in the gifted program, I was one of the only kids bust out of my school and raised in this other program and all these things, and you're being told that your worth is, you're a good one. You're special. You're like this. You're not like the other ones. You're this. So as much as I hated it because that tastes like racism, I still took it because it was validating.
Well, you were also a child.
And I was a child.
You were a child. That is a very sophisticated thing to
And it was very
interpret.
validating to go, okay, well, maybe I am special. And this is the only thing that makes me good. I need more of this.
Yeah.
So then I just transferred that from academics into being on stage.
Yeah.
And then the fact that my family didn't really support me at first, I spent so much time going, hey, look at me. Look at what I'm doing now. I'm really good at this. I'm really, really good at this. Until at some point the ceilings crack and they go, oh, we love it.
Right.
And I go, thank you. I love you too.
Right. This is what I always ask, because this comes up from time to time, this exact phenomenon. Did it help them understand? In my case, you had to say a number. Like if you were doing a show, it's fine, but if you go, they're giving me $50,000 to do that show, then that's when the applause came. Did they understand just the accolades, or did it have to be financial?
With my grandma, God bless her, she really was my fan, and she really did love me. She just didn't understand. Once she saw, though, I think it went from, oh, that's nice that he's on stage. That's good. Oh, the funny, and you jump up and down, you do, to, I guess, when it finally hit her that other people saw me in a certain light. For her, it wasn't even about the money. It was
respect.
It was the respect. And I think for someone of her generation, yes, the money did matter, but getting respect also took a bit of worry off of her plate, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think to a certain point, she really did believe that if you don't go to college, you don't have a degree, you don't have a job, then I worry about you because you're not going to make it.
But what is college really? It's like, seems to me like a slower, less condensed version of what show business can do in success. College is like building relationship and building skills. People who will help you. A professor, you meet a classmate, you start a business. There's a huge social component to it. And once you start getting recognized, there is this like very basic feeling like people know Wayne, they won't let him starve. You know what I mean? Like they'll take care of him. Like if they're excited to see you, that means he can. It's like my dad always used to say: if you could play piano, you'll never starve. That's what. And you'll always be able to work if you can play the piano.
Yes.
So now they're seeing you,
and that's the thing.
as a piano.
Oh, he's fine now because people like.
Yeah.
they like him.
Yeah.
And that really took a lot of work, I think, on her part to change the mindset of, because I think that it's just the part of the American dream that you go to college, and especially for
an immigrant
family, you're black, you're from the South, I've got this paper that so many, because we have so much wrapped into our culture of at least this paper says that I've made it, that I'm doing something, that men and women for decades and decades have died to get this paper, that at one point I could never have imagined someone letting me read and write. So I think for a lot of black families, it just isn't as simple as, why aren't you going to college? It's, why aren't you going to college? Don't you understand? So I had a lot of guilt around that too. So I needed to succeed to prove to them that I was okay.
Yeah. You had to go to college for your ancestry, basically. Like we've been, my wife and I have been thinking a lot about like generational trauma and how it's like passed down, like the sins of the father and all these things. So it's like when you go to college, the whole line goes to college. When you didn't go to college, the whole line didn't go to college.
And I'm living that dream right now
with your daughter.
Through my daughter.
Yeah.
And it was,
you were like, just give me one more generation.
It's so weird.
I got to sing some songs with Drew Carey.
Yeah.
Just give me one.
Please. But the day that she was able to turn to me, I think it was after she got in, which, shout out to my daughter, Miley. She did her whole college process herself. Because at that point, she'd entered a realm where I had no experience. I just had experience that 16-year-old Wayne kind of started, but she was doing this thing on her own. So at one point, we were having this discussion, and she turned to me and she goes, "That's not how college works, so you wouldn't understand." And I got, "You don't talk to your father." And then I went, "Oh, no, first, dial it back. And secondly, she's right, Wayne. You don't know. Your image of college comes from School Days by Spike Lee and Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield and School Ties. So shut up, Wayne Brady.
Yeah. Wow.
Shut up."
Well, that's progress right there. That moment, those little repair moments, or even stopping it, like just that's the next generation of dads right there. Good on you. You guys know I'm obsessed with ways to strengthen my immunity and my gut health, as well as my fitness, my endurance, my metabolism, as well as hair and skin radiance. And I recently discovered one product that does all of that, and it couldn't be easier to add into your daily routine. I'm talking about ARMRA Colostrum. Colostrum is the first nutrition we receive in life, and it contains all of the essential nutrients our bodies need to thrive. I'm talking about reactivating hair growth and glowing skin by reducing inflammation and puffiness. I'm talking about igniting your metabolism and fortifying gut health so you feel less bloated. That is a huge one for me. I feel that go down. I just feel my stomach feel lighter and definitely less bloated, while replenishing your microbiome, stabilizing blood sugar, and accelerating fat burning, which is so helpful for me with cravings, as well as fueling your fitness performance and recovery. ARMRA Colostrum is a proprietary concentrate of bovine colostrum that harnesses over 400 living bioactive nutrients that rebuild the barriers of your body and fuel cellular health for a host of research-backed health benefits. It's natural, it's sustainable, and was developed with the highest integrity, grass-fed in the United States, and they guarantee the highest potency and bioavailability of any colostrum on the market for results that you can see and actually feel. Both Val and I take it every single day. I just use my own promo code to order a big old tub of it because we love it. Receive 15% off, special offer for weirdos. Go to tryarmra.com/weird or enter weird at checkout for 15% off your first order. That's tryarmra.com/weird. We're also brought to us by our friends at Brain FM. Brain FM has been a huge part of my creative routine. I throw on these headphones, I open the app, and I drop into flow state. I dial in, literally signaling to my brain that it is time to work. On the surface, Brain FM seems just like the perfect work music, an app that plays you lo-fi electronic or soundscapes or nature or cinematic kind of sounds. And on one level, that's what it is. But underneath, Brain FM's composers work hard to add patterns to the music. Underneath, that change the patterns in your brain, creating increased blood flow and electrical activity in the brain, increasing focus in as little as 5 minutes. Brain FM actually has the scientific research to back up these claims through close collaboration with neuroscientists and a wide array of field experiments and testing. And I can tell you, it is the best. It dials me in. It signals to my brain literally that it's time to get creating. It's time to get working, relaxing, meditating, falling asleep. They have settings for all of it. Regular music is designed to be distracting. Brain FM is the better way. And it's made by humans, not computers, actual composers, that they add these sounds in that you will see a difference. So go to brain.fm/weird for 30% off 1 year of Brain FM. Start getting more done with less effort and unlock your best self on demand. Experience the difference that the right music can make in your life with Brain FM. Brain.fm/weird. All right, everybody, back to the show. So you're one of the good ones. That phrase hurt my heart. And then your blackness, if I can say, became this thing. I'm sure you've talked about this a lot, like Chappelle's show, Wayne Brady looked like Malcolm X sort of thing.
Right.
So when that was called into question, was that particularly pointed for you?
Always.
Yeah.
Always, and it hurts. And even now, I wish I could say, because in therapy and in programs, right, you only can control yourself. I still have a hard time that every blue moon I'll be scrolling online and some site, a black site, has one of the interviews that I've done breaking down the joke. And I feel that I've done a good job.
What do you mean breaking down the joke?
At explaining why I didn't find Paul Mooney's joke funny.
Oh, yeah.
And how harmful it was, that the initial the catalyst. I'm grateful for, because if it wasn't for him making that dumb joke, then I wouldn't have been able to respond with Dave and write that sketch with him and Neil, which is a classic. And I'm glad I got to do that, because hell yeah, that was great. But even now when I see someone talking and I read comments, which is like, if you're funny, Mr. Funny Man, it's just a joke, or see, the fact that you're mad about it, that's why you're white. I was like, that doesn't make sense. So, but stupid things, and that's the minority. Pardon the pun. That's the minority of the minority. It's not everyone's view, which I used to, in my own head, that's how everyone feels about me. So I've got to fight. So I spent so many years of my career and life always fighting.
It's a strange thing to have sort of stapled to the hem of your coat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got this great career. And there is something about it being Paul Mooney, meaning, do you find it significant that it's a black person making a joke about a black person? Meaning, if a white person had made that joke, it'd be like, yikes.
Well, it would have been doubly worse. But to me, and I'll explain it in a smaller fashion, the reason why it was not a great joke to me, some other people found it funny, is that in this world, in this country, where the American black person has had a very specific experience versus any other black culture in the world, a very specific experience here. When we say, through the trauma of slavery and other things that were injected and then laid upon us, when we look at another black person who is doing X, Y, or Z, whether they're a doctor, whether they're an actor, whether they're whatever, and we question their blackness. First of all, and I say, what is your blackness? What is your blackness? But I get it. From the earliest time, if a slave was shown any type of exception and removed from this group, of course, the ones left would go, well, now I'm suspicious of you because you have the favor of those people that hurt us.
The tormentor,
That's part of our trauma. I completely get it.
Yeah.
But to that I say, why would Paul Mooney, someone of Richard Pryor's generation, a comedy legend that I look up to, the basis of your joke, let's even talk joke craft. Wayne Brady makes Bryant Gumbel look like Malcolm X. So you're saying that Malcolm X, who, for the sake of this joke, is the blackest of black because of him being this fighter for our rights and by any means necessary. You're now saying that Bryant Gumbel, who, whatever you feel about him or whatever the thing because of how he talks or whoever he is married to, associates with, he's obviously white. So then that means that I am so not black that I make that guy look black by association. So now you're questioning my blackness. You're questioning Brian Gumbel's blackness. You're throwing anything that we have done of merit. You're tossing that shit aside when really those are things that objectively, like, holy crap, Brian Gumbel is one of the first sportscasters of color to be able to achieve the things that he achieved. Very intelligent man, carved a path in this thing. But screw that. He's not black enough. And then who says that you are the gatekeeper and the arbiter of that? So that's the problem that I had with it. I've put up with that my entire life to a degree because of that whole being separated.
Well, you're selected from the beginning.
Right. So I put up with that. So I was cool with it. But when I saw it on Dave's show, I was hurt a little bit. And I've even said this in other interviews on TV, because I love Dave Chappelle so much, because I rocked with Dave from the days of Robin Hood, Men in Tights, and his early stand-up sets. So I was a fan. So I was like, well, what did I do? And I'm out here killing it too. I'm a trailblazer. Why would you say? So that's why a joke like that hurt. And then that joke also hurts. Now I realize in trauma work, that joke hurts the little guy, the little Wayne, who always wanted to be accepted. Who always wanted to belong, who thought that by being really funny and making it as the only him on this show and breaking down certain doors, I never changed who I was.
Yeah.
The gig changed, but I didn't change. I was taking all that on and I felt horrible. I felt bad. I felt like there was no seat at the table for me.
Right.
I felt like I didn't belong. And now it's not just elementary school or high school that I don't belong. I don't belong in the friggin' fraternity of comedians that I respect, that I've worked to be in mentioned in my own right with these other guys. So that's why that hurts so much. And I get that. And I worked through that. And that's always been a sore spot. Oh, excuse me, my phone is ringing, and
it's
it
Dave
shouldn't.
Chappelle.
You shouldn't be. Oh, it's Dave. No. So, but you know what? Stuff like that. You then use it, and it goes on to fuel the beast. It fuels your comedy.
Well, talking about your incredible, thank you for talking about that. That wasn't like a planned, I have Wayne, I'll get him to comment on this.
No, of course,
it just feels like we were talking about the plucked feeling in your schooling. So thanks for talking about it. I'm sure people will be very interested to hear that if they hadn't heard it already. So thank you.
Of course.
When it talks about that tension, right, that not belonging tension, whether it be in school, in the South, racially later, does that I'll show them stuff come out in your comedy? Is it when the lights come on and it's time for you to go? Are you sort of fueled by that wound? You know what I mean?
I used to be fueled by it.
Yeah, tell me.
Especially after, like in that era. And I kind of went through this, I was always, when I wrapped my talk show and did the Chappelle sketch and was moving on to everything else, I went batshit crazy. I was already crazy, but I was doing a pretty good lid, that job of keeping a lid on it.
What kind of crazy?
Oh, just emotionally, and
this is the undiagnosed depression.
Yes,
and anxiety.
Didn't realize that I was living with it, because when you're moving quickly, like I had for a number of years, once notoriety hits, any time that you have with yourself. No, I can't spend any time on myself. I actually had some time. I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not dealing with this shit. And dating and going out, and that's when I got divorced and just didn't know what was happening. I feel
was it like a substance thing too? I mean,
no, not even. It's so funny. I've said this in the men's group, and just know that this is not to disrespect anyone in the AA program, but to me, and I stress that, to me, there are times when I've wished that I had a substance abuse problem.
So you could fix it, so you could dial in on it?
And this also is somebody talking who has not had that. So I have brothers in programs who I don't want them to think that I'm belittling that.
Is it for that reason?
To me, it seems like
No, I
it seems
understand.
like
To diagnose, this is the
I'm
thing.
sorry,
No,
that
that's
if
all.
this is my problem, that if this is my thing, if I can't stop drinking VITA COCO, if I get the right help, I don't have to touch VITA. That's tangible. I know this. I know what it tastes like.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I shut the door on it. I'm good.
Right.
The problem is in me. The problem is me. It's chemically in me. It's the same brain that gives me my superpower is also my worst enemy.
Right. The shadow side of it. Yeah.
And I wish I could excise or expunge, just grab whatever that thing is. And so there were days when I would trade a problem like that for what I'm carrying around and what I'm feeling, and it would just get worse and worse. And then not really getting help for it and spiraling, and nobody could see it. Nobody could see that there was a problem because, Wayne is smiling and he shows up and that's what you do because that's in my DNA. So even on a worse day, old school show business, I'll show up. But I began to see that slowly things were unraveling. So I would show up, but I would show up angry. I'd get the job done, but I'd be mad. Don't talk to Wayne right now, but he's now smiling, but he's not. I'd be doing a play. I couldn't remember my lines because my memory
Locked up.
because my memory the traumatic memory loss, the short-term memory, I couldn't remember things, and that would make me angry. I became paranoid at times because I was not being treated. I was not getting help. I was trying to self-medicate either by relationships or
Did you think everybody was trying to take advantage of you, or
absolutely,
or even bigger, like aliens? I'm not trying to get a
no, I know what you're saying.
thing, but
No, because
like,
not aliens, but I did believe. I started to believe I couldn't be in a relationship because if you're willing to be in a relationship with me, something's wrong with you. Or you're stealing some. You don't want me.
wow.
Or
I laugh because that's so real. That's so
It's
raw.
real.
That's raw data. If you don't, so you don't love yourself, right? And now you're with somebody, and you're like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
so there's no way. Or the flip side of that is when you don't love yourself and you're seeking validation. Which side note? One of my biggest heroes growing up was Sammy Davis Jr. Just because as a showman, his Broadway work, his singing, his acting, impersonations, those were things that immediately young Wayne locked into. I said, I think I can be a guy like that. And then becoming a Sammy Uber fan, also reading about the dark side, about his gambling addiction, about his substance addiction, about all the ways that he wasn't accepted by his folks and all these things. So I was kind of drawing this parallel in my mind, silently, never really saying it. So knowing enough and going, I wish that he would have loved himself. And I see other people that make it and go, well, I wish that they would have valued themselves enough. And I began to see that in me, that if I didn't value myself and I'd place myself in situations, in relationships where you can't love me because I don't love me, and therefore I don't trust your judgment, and I don't trust you.
It's a gift you've given us, because people talk about why do you have to love yourself? It sounds like an ego trip or something. And I'm like, no, it's the first step to any relationship.
And it sounds so, now it's been said so much,
know.
right? It sounds trite. It sounds like a thing. But dude,
It's
it is
basic.
so true.
Yes.
You have to love yourself just on a basic level.
That's right. Even if it, because Val said, my wife said this to me, she was like, when you want to be better, that's lovable. That's something worth loving. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you're broken and you're noticing, why can't I always do the thing I don't want to do. Why is that? You don't want to be that way. That's a starting point. You go like, oh my God, look, Pete wants to improve. That is beautiful. That's the first step towards forgiving yourself.
Which is why doing that work, legitimately going to therapy, legitimately is important, because it's not just you sitting and telling a stranger stuff and I want to try to fool this person. It's you doing some action. You're actually taking an action. Whereas you could just sit in whatever this thing is and let it consume you. Yeah. And then everything that you love starts to go away. I started finding the thing, my joy which was being on stage, because I would do that. I'll show them. If you think that I'm not da-da-da-da, watch this. You aren't funnier than me in my realm. You aren't smarter than me in my realm. You can't make this song up. And now I'll say, you can't out-sing. You can't do this thing. I started to notice the things that I truly loved and was good at started to get tainted, and they would erode. Maybe I wasn't as good on stage that night. Maybe I wasn't as fast and made people laugh as much. Maybe I was unhappy showing up for the show so much that I am going to read a comment from someone online. Yeah, I saw him on Thursday. I don't know.
Because if you believe them when they hate you, if you believe them when they love you,
You have to believe the other side.
You.
It's like reviews, right?
Yeah.
So, and I had to face up to that truth. I said, okay, I'm not showing up. I'm not showing up for myself in real life. That's why I can't show up on stage. And stage was I was fond of saying that maybe the other 22 hours of the day, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But those 2 hours, I'll kill it. That's where I'm happy. That's my safe place.
That doesn't work. Life won't work that way.
Life won't work that way. It eventually
That's right.
takes it away.
No, we've all seen the behind the music of comedians enough. That story over and over.
Yeah.
And I love that you're saying it. It's like, well, I'm always worried I'm saying Mulaney too much, but I was closer with Mulaney.
love him.
Isn't he the best? He's the king. When I was getting divorced, and I remember being like, this is when I was 28, so I was a baby. But I was like, shouldn't I be funnier? Like, I'm in all this pain. Shouldn't I be funnier? And he just goes, pain gets in the way of what we do. So that idea that we're supposed to be swashbuckling, hungover, coughing up, like literally coughing up cigarette butts, going on stage, and you're in the middle of a horrible divorce and you're killing it. Nah,
That only works in movies.
That's right.
That only works
It's a trope.
when the character's like, you know what? I'm just going to tell you the truth.
Right.
Well, we're not all Lenny Bruce.
That's right.
That is not the case.
Most of us will do better. So getting in touch with your joy again. So how did you treat that depression? What was how did you diagnose it? Like what?
I finally found a great therapist, which, like any relationship, I found one that got me and that I really looked forward to sharing with.
Gender? Was it a
Male.
Just interesting.
Yeah. Guy.
Older?
He was a little younger than me.
I'm just trying to get a picture.
Yeah, I'm a little younger than me.
Okay, a little younger.
Brilliant.
Huh.
Like when I say brilliant, that not to blow up his spot or to like one of the heads of psychiatry at one of the schools that would be known for psychiatry.
Yeah.
Like
oh wow.
one of these guys.
So you got the guy. How'd you find him?
I found him through someone in my men's group who said, "Hey, you need
What compelled you to
therapy."
join a men's group? Sorry, we're going to get to the depression and the treatment, but this is
No,
interesting.
but that I needed community.
Yeah.
I didn't, earlier when I was saying that like the Wayne that people see on TV is drastically different and it's not sad clown, because I'm not crying at home. I mean,
Yeah.
I've cried at home, but I'm not crying at home.
Yeah.
Early
Home's the best
on,
place to cry.
I don't know why or where, but I'm a very solitary person. And I developed that as a self-defense mechanism. My grandmother kept me inside a lot because she was very fearful. I had a very fearful upbringing.
We had that in common. If I'm home, I'm safe.
Yes.
One of the first lines in my book
love
is
that.
I was an indoor cat. Because I noticed my mom's having like a panic attack because my brother's out. I'm like, I'll just stay home.
I was an indoor cat.
Indoor cats.
And I love the fact that you phrase it like that. Well, then your analogy makes complete sense. And now that I look at it, that's what I tried to do to my daughter, which caused us a lot of, thank God for therapy, because she goes to the same therapist.
Nice.
But the way that I was raised, my grandmother kept me inside because the neighborhood wasn't the greatest. It was a good neighborhood, but yeah, folks, there was an occasional pop, you hear it shooting, or there were drug dealers or whatnot. So in her mind, I'm keeping you in the house because I'm keeping you safe. My word to your father was I would keep you safe, and I'm going to raise you like I raised him. So I was very sheltered. So I was made fun of anyway for my accent because I talked like them. I had a very strong St. Thomian accent, and they thought that our family had money. We didn't have any money, but
Well, you're from the islands.
Right.
It
Just
sounds very...
various things.
Yeah.
So my thing was, you know what? I don't need y'all. Fuck you. I'm good by myself. Which, once again, that's a little bit of a superpower. Later on, I learned to play by myself, my imagination. I read every single book I can get my hand on. I started to use a tape recorder to do plays.
Me too.
I would do all the voices, and you learn that. And I loved it. And I'd play with my action figures and stories, so I developed a sense of story.
I think about that too. That's when I'm writing a script, I'm like, this is G.I. Joe's. That's all it is.
That's what it
People
is.
thought it was so stupid. I played with G.I. Joe's until I was like 18. I only stopped because people made fun of me. I was like, now I write scripts. G.I. Joe's.
I would still
That's
play.
G.I. Joe's. Me too.
I would still
Are you
play.
kidding me? If you play Grand Theft Auto, that's fucking... Any sandbox game, that's G.I. Joe's.
That's
It's
what it
G.I.
is.
Joe's.
And it's that bit of you that loves that creativity because the creativity is safe.
That's right.
And so I did that in a vacuum. So I grew up that way. So later, I learned to fake being very, very outgoing. And I've talked about this before too. I had a very strong stutter, a very, very strong stutter that I was in speech therapy early on for, that I believe it was brought on by childhood anxiety but almost debilitating. And even now, every blue moon, if I am really worked up, if I'm very angry, if I'm very scared, if I'm unsure, the words can't come faster than my brain can process, and they get stuck. So it started then. So that's why I didn't talk to anybody, because if I didn't talk to you, then I had no fear. So later on in high school, once I started acting, I developed the character of Wayne, which was cool enough to be on stage and and I could walk into any room and I could look somebody in the eye and I could shake your hand and I could carry on a conversation and I could make your mom like me and I could be charming and I could get with that. We could do the whole thing. That was great.
Yeah.
As soon as I went home, click-eared. Oh God, I'm so glad that's over. I don't want to ever do anything. And I kind of put that box away. But then as I started working years later and things started happening and people know you and you have to show up for events, you have to show up and show up, that fuse began to misfire. And I became super solitary again, which is why I wouldn't go to any events, and my publicist and agent stopped sending me to things, and people stopped inviting me because Wayne isn't going to show up. Wayne isn't going to show up to this thing, and I got a reputation for that, and that started to affect even when offers. Really, you think Wayne's going to show up? I was like, but I pride myself on showing up. You show up when you want to, and I had to realize that was a truth as well, and I realized that I'd cut myself off from everybody. I was very happy being in my house by myself, and because Mandy and I were divorced, my daughter Miley would be at her house. Some of the days, if I didn't have her, I'm by myself. I don't need anybody. I'll sit in that room. I'll shut down. And that's how I dealt with things. So being a part of a men's group gave me a community of at least a couple guys who I could talk to, especially some of them being in the business. I could actually listen to their stories and I could talk, and we all had very similar stories. And that's helped me to this day now too.
Antonio Banderas is in your men's group. That's incredible.
I know. Shout out to A-Man.
The A-Man is.
I'm not very happy with his voting preferences. But
did he come out in a weird way?
Oh, yeah.
Yikes.
Come on.
Antonio?
Who knew? Oh, by the way, he's not really my men's group, but it would have been awesome.
Yeah, that goes viral.
Right, somebody, what? And then I get flamed on Twitter by Antonio. But weirdly, he says, you didn't show up Wednesday. Huh?
The show is brought to us by our friends at LMNT, like it says on my hat. I'm going to talk about a different aspect of Element. Not only has it replaced my morning cup of coffee, flooding my body with the electrolytes, we're talking about sodium, potassium, magnesium, that it means to get every cell ready to start my day. The neuroconnectivity is fired up. It tastes great. Watermelon salt, I love it. Awesome after a workout, of course. Hydration isn't just water, it's getting these nutrients in this precise measurement into your body. But here's a different way I enjoy Element. At night, sometimes I'm just bored and I want to eat, but instead I make a cup of hot Element. They make these chocolate flavors. There's chocolate salt, there's chocolate chai, there's chocolate raspberry. Put it in a mug, add some hot water, stir it up. Couldn't be easier. It's delicious. It satisfies my sweet tooth. There's no junk. There's no sugar. There's no caffeine. And it's flooding my body with stuff that it actually needs. Magnesium before bed is fantastic. Something about the sodium in the element also keeps me from getting up to pee in the night, which is amazing. So get Element into your life. I'm seeing it everywhere. People are definitely, the cat is out of the bag. People are finding out how amazing healthy hydration is with these electrolytes. So go to drink LMNT, drinklmnt.com/weird. Get a free sample pack and you can try all of the different flavors. Who knew I would love mango chili, but I do. I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't tried the sample pack. So go to drinklmnt.com/weird. Get this hydration in your life. Get this energy. Get this brain fired up stuff in your body. I swear by it, and you will love it. They also make incredible 16-ounce cans, which we love. Whenever we have people over, people go straight for the element. So do it. drinklmnt.com/weird. We're also brought to us, as always, by our friends at Modern Mammals. You know I hate shampoo. Shampoo fries your hair. It dries it out, makes it look poofy, makes it look terrible. For years, practically, pretty much my entire life, if I washed my hair, I just knew I was gonna look like crap for 2-3 days until the natural oils in my hair came back and brought it back under control. Well, enter Modern Mammals to fix all of that. It leaves the natural oil, just enough of the natural oil in your hair to give you that sweet, sweet flow. That means you wash it when you want it to look good, which is how it should be. If I want a perfect hair day, if I'm going to a premiere or if I'm acting in something or doing stand-up, I wash it, I clean it with Modern Mammals, the non-shampoo shampoo that gets your hair looking perfect in about 15 seconds. Over 40,000 guys have switched, making this their new shampoo. You got to see the reviews for this product. It blows people's mind. And once you try it, you will be hooked for life, which is why I'm always giving it out to the guests on the show. I love this company. I love this product. You are 6 seconds away, guys, to perfect hair. Go to modernmammals.com/weird and you can try the bar, which is a plastic-free alternative. It's also pH balanced, wonderful for travel, and the bottle, which is a more traditional shampoo experience. Try both for $44, modernmammals.com/weird. All right, back to the show. So you wanted community, and that started to help because you are a little reclusive. I relate, by the way. Just so you know, you're not alone in that. Like you go, like it's safe to be alone. It's familiar to be alone. And then, you know, my wife and my daughter bring me out of that. And then you start feeling like this other thing. You're like, because fight flight is going away. That's fight flight freeze. That's kind of like a freeze for me. It's like just freeze at home. I might be moving, but I'm frozen.
Right.
You're in the body like the armadillo or the turtle shell.
Right.
But from the outside, you're just frozen.
See,
you might be in there playing Xbox.
Shocked into inaction.
Yeah.
Which I also know is the ADHD trait of the executive functions and the executive shutdown. But there will be times when I absolutely feel that thing of I will just sit, and I'm happy to be sitting in the quiet.
Yeah.
And I know that I've got to get up and do something, but I'd rather stay here for right now because if I move to do what I've got to do, I'm exposing myself.
Yeah. And you have to do the next thing too. You know what I mean? Jim Gaffigan has a great joke where he goes, you ever have a Saturday where you have 30 things to do and you get so overwhelmed you do none of them? I was like,
yes.
Yeah. You ever do neurofeedback? Just give you another thing.
No, have I done that? Which one is the neurofeedback with the machine?
Yeah, you put a little note on your head and the movie fades out. That really helps me. I've started doing it again because I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've been noticing like feeling less overwhelmed when I'm just like, I have to go to the post office. And I just, before I know it, I notice I'm at the post office and I'm like, this is a miracle.
If you can make yourself go.
Yeah, just do it.
Then everything's cool. What I tell people now is what works for me whenever I'm asked about it, speeches that I give is it's easy. I make my bed.
Yeah, starts the momentum.
Even this morning.
Yeah.
Because I didn't sleep last night, I was overwhelmed by the day that I knew I was going to have today that even just this morning, I had a pitch, I had to take care of my dogs, and my house was being worked on, and people were invading my space, and then I had to get out early. I knew traffic, and I had to get here. And then I'm doing After Midnight, and then I'm singing in a Broadway tribute tonight.
What?
So I looked at the day. I didn't sleep at all because I was trying to deliver this short story that I needed to finish. I waited until the last second, and then I was freaked out about the story, and then I was jet lagged, and then I couldn't sleep. My dog wanted to go outside. So basically, I got like 3.5 hours sleep last night. Yikes. So at 6 a.m. this morning, I'm laying in the bed. I went, you know what? I wonder if I'm going to make something up. And maybe I can say that I'm sick, and then maybe he'll have me back as a guest later. No, but then he already booked out the day, and I know that sucks. You can't do that. Well, maybe I can do the other thing. I'll drop out of the Broadway song tribute tonight, and I'll just tell them that shooting on After Midnight ran long. No, you can't do that, Wayne. You're really trying to make sure that people know that you can show up. Fuck. I'm like, make your bed, huh? Okay, go. I actually jumped out of bed because it was the only way to go, and I made my bed. And went, okay, the bed's made. I can't get back in it now. So all those excuses, those things that ran through my head, no, the day is set. I made my bed. Wow. Now it's on to each thing.
That's incredible. I've never thought of a made bed as a bed you can't get back in. But sometimes that's all it takes. It's my theory on why we wear suits to office jobs. It's hard to get naked. You can't wear sweatpants and no undies. People be fucking all day.
Which is bad.
Bad for productivity.
Which is bad. Unless you work at Pornhub. But not in the corporate offices.
They have juicy sweatpants. You know what I mean?
That's the uniform.
Yeah. But it's like brushing your teeth. If you don't want to eat, like late night snack, brush your teeth. It's that same sort of mentality.
Because you don't want to taste it. So any of those little tricks and tools, that's a tool that I got from therapy. It sounds so basic and simple.
You just get going.
That's one of those things. Why don't you make your bed, Wayne? Well, I always make my bed. It's part of how I was raised. No, but I had to admit, when I was going through it, on days I was going through it, screw that bed and the comforter, and I would treat everything like I don't care. I'll leave a mess on the counter, and I'm a fastidious person. So that's how I know that I was going through something. Yeah. If I make my bed, it all falls into place.
I completely agree. The other thing that it struck me to share is that, like, I've been feeling overwhelmed. Like on the weekend, my daughter's going to be 6 this month.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she's the best. But sometimes, when my wife and I say, looking down the barrel of, 12 hours with a 6-year-old, got a lot of activities, it's exhausting, and you get through Saturday, or you don't get through Saturday, but it's Saturday night, you're going to bed, and you're like, we have to do that again tomorrow. Like, there's Sunday. Weekends are for people that don't have kids. It's not a new observation. There's no weekend. That's the hardest, or it's the most packed day. It's the most effort day. There's an effortful day. But then I was like, basic stuff. It's like making the bed. Just like, just do this. Just do this. Just what you're doing right now. Don't compound it and think about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Who could do the day you're doing? Nobody, including you. But isn't there even just a comfort in just going like, just this, just this?
Yes, just for today. And little flips to language. That's what I've really been studying lately. And that's the one thing that I think that Instagram and TikTok have really proven themselves good for. Just like it's been the rise of the at-home comedian and musician. It's also been the rise of the therapist using that. And not everybody, because there are some quacks, but there's a lot of good stuff, common sense that I go, oh, yeah. And one of them is adjusting. It's not that I had to get out of my bed and now I got to go do the Pete Holmes thing and I got to go. No, I get to. I'll tell the folks watching, you know what? I had my PR team reach out to Pete. I wanted to be here. I was jealous. I was like, oh my God, all these people I like get to go and have fun with Pete Holmes. So I get to have fun. I get to be on After Midnight because they think that I could make their show good by being funny. I get to go and sing tonight because they asked me as a member of the Broadway community here in LA to raise awareness to me. I get to do those things. Who gets to do a day like that? That's a brag. I get to, oh shit, that's my day.
That's right. when I'm doing an hour of stand-up, I always have them to turn the clock around. I'm like, this isn't a job. Turn the clock around. I'm not watching a countdown from an hour. That's insane. It seems like we're making, tiles in a factory or something. I'm not doing that.
Great that you do
Turn
that.
that around. I get off when I'm done, and I've been doing this since I've been headlining, so it's been 20 years. I go, I don't have to do an hour. I get to do as long as I want.
Yes.
Isn't that good?
You get to, and that changes everything, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. No, that's hugely, language is so powerful. We don't have a lot of time because you got to get to Taylor. So we got 20 minutes here. I did want to talk about, you're the only guest we've had that's pansexual. That's very interesting to me.
Oh, yeah.
We can talk about that, but we also want to talk about the meaning of life. So let's do both. Let's see if we can do. You really are talking to someone who doesn't really know pansexual, like pantheism, kind of sexual in any direction. Is that correct?
Yes. And you know what? Here's the truth. I'm still figuring it out too.
Yeah. Oh, no. Nobody's making you be the spokesperson for pansexuality.
Oh, no. But some people,
do want you to do that.
demand that. Some people demand it. And what I love is God bless America, the level of wanton and sometimes intentional ignorance is amazing, especially online. That's what Twitter's for, I guess, because, somebody, especially under our posts for our show and, the weekly posts and stuff, there's all this love. And then every blue moon, there'll be somebody who's like, just say you gay, man. That's gay. Right? You know what? Even if I were, okay.
Right.
It's not like you're shaming me into doing something. It's
people get uncomfortable though when it's like a new thing or
it's a new thing or something that
spacious thing
or something that they don't get. Spacious is the right word, because if you don't understand something, it doesn't cost anything to still create space for it and give. Well, I don't understand it. Personally, I don't get it, but good for you, because that's your thing, right?
Yeah.
So I don't get it.
Yeah.
But good for you.
Right.
Or let me listen and see if I actually can
I thought you were going
get
to say, it doesn't cost anything to just step back and take a beat and observe. There's people that call into news polls to say, I don't know. It's like, do you think Biden should step down? 48% say yes.
I don't know.
12% said, I don't know.
I don't know.
This guy was motivated to call in and say, I don't know.
You called in 3 times, sir.
That's what it is like with this.
But that's what social media.
You called 3 times.
He called 3 times. That's what I think social media.
You have to have an opinion.
You have to.
You are your opinion.
You have to. If I don't say something and that discourse is happening, then I don't exist.
Also, if they're your opinion, you are your sexuality, or you are your race, or you are your gender, or whatever it might be. Like, you understand when you start making people yeses and nos on an SAT, what Scantron. I know what pansexual is. That's just someone who won't say they're gay, And also, they're asking you to be a Scantron sheet as well and break it down, when what you're saying is life, the human experience, even this moment, is so much stranger and wilder and mysterious and unknowable. It's like sometimes when I'm really in touch with reality, I see that we're skiing, or whitewater rafting. Everything's changing. And we build monuments and we wear the same shirt and stuff to give the illusion of consistency.
Because we want to hold on.
That's why we play Wake Me Up Before You Go at the supermarket. You hear it and you go, I've heard the song before. You have memories. I belong on this planet. I get it. It's a good thing to do. But the truth of the matter is you and I are on the tip of an arrow shooting through outer space. And it's wild. It's so much more dreamlike and ethereal.
You said that in one of your shows. What's the joke the observation? It's kind of like that where you broke down how we're moving.
Oh, we're floating on a space rock. Life makes no sense.
Yes.
Yeah,
life makes no sense.
Right.
Because we take time to think about us hurtling through space.
Infinitely expanding
and
space.
doing this thing.
Yeah.
And all this stuff.
And then that's
those
so
are the things that
overwhelming.
you're worrying about.
Exactly. And to create some order or power or identity, we would go like, Wayne, just say you're gay, because I can't handle it. Like, I'm having a panic attack. I'm not saying they're consciously thinking that, but we want things to be neat.
Order.
You move.
You
got
to do that thing.
Yeah.
You've got to do that thing Ooh, so now I feel good.
That's right. You go to the grocery store, you want the coffee to be where it was last time. And any disruption, even though we all know it's an arbitrary choice made by the stock boy, Steve. But
Shout out, Steve.
Shout out, Steve. Thanks for putting that taster's choice right where I need it.
Cosmic stock boy.
So I'm just saying, when you are brave, and it is brave as a known person to come out and be like, this is the thing, people don't go, People magazine can't sell as easily. If you were gay, Wayne Brady, I'm gay, just like Clay Aiken, you get your I'm gay cover. There's no I'm pansexual cover. You know what I mean?
That's why it was really great when they even ran the story.
Who ran the story?
People. Like
I was making it up.
They were the first people to really break it because we talked to them and they did a whole spread and everything.
Oh, really?
But you're right. It's not a cover story because it's not even the reality show. It's not as sensational as folks would want it to be. They're like, well, if you're going to come out and do these things, I want to hear the lurid details, which is why I think that a lot of people, even when they ask the question, so now that you've come out and you're living your truth, which is the buzzword, now you're living your truth, how have things changed? There are a lot of people that would love for me to say, bitch, it has changed. I am in denim, tight ass shorts on a Wednesday night. I'm going through West Hollywood with a top hat and a cane. Tap dancing to RuPaul's greatest hits, doing splits, bitch.
With living fish in your shoes.
With living fish that I eat afterwards. Hibachi. So, but no, my life has not changed like that. That is not my truth. So don't try to force that on me.
That would be the drawer we would know to put it in. That's what I'm saying.
Because that sounds good.
And it's digestible. You know what I mean? I'm not saying what you are and what you've said
you're
is
right.
indigestible.
No, you're exactly right. Well,
but it requires a certain level of subtlety.
It's a little indigestible, and that's why I say, even for me, as someone, I didn't just lightly get up on a Wednesday and go, time to upset the apple cart. Let's see. Even part of my childhood story and everything up to this point, and that piece of trying to figure out what was up with myself and the things that I found attractive and the person I wanted to be with and love and fantasy and how does that play into that was all part of my deal, which I never thought about it until I started going to therapy. So there's a reason why even younger, I never came out as gay because I'm not gay. I'm not. I have the women that I've been with in my life and all the women I've dated and the people I was married to, it's because I was attracted to them. Now, that's not to say that maybe I was not attracted to a man as well, which is what gave me pause. So I didn't know what the term for that was. And then even once I did learn the term later of bisexual, there was something in me that said, I guess that could be it. But then once we started to become educated, I dare say maybe in the past 6 years, about people that are non-binary and more of the trans community started making a stand and making themselves vocal and sharing their story. And I've got a trans niece and seeing that. And then I went, oh, I think I understand what this means. What does this thing? And then my daughter, Miley, was the one that said, you know what a pansexual is, right? I'm like, no, what is pan? I guess, you know, me being a big-ass nerd, well, the etymology of the word, pan, would it mean that I was at, yes, Dad, okay, whatever. Yes, it means that you would be open to love for everyone. It's hearts, not parts.
Hearts, not parts, I've never heard that.
I love women.
Yeah.
I could be attracted to this beautiful trans woman. I have found that guy attractive. If this person says they're non-binary, but there are a couple non-binary presenting actors or actresses that I've met that I've gone, wow, you're beautiful in that way. That's pansexual, I think. I believe that's what that is. Scary as hell, and still trying to work through it. Is that what it is? But now that I voiced it, people are expecting, well, does that mean that you're with somebody now and you're going to end up with a man, you're going to end up with a woman? I said, I don't know. That's not for y'all to know. That's for me to find out later. That's part of the journey for me. So I'm still trying to find out. I'm still trying to find out exactly what it means.
Yeah. It's beautiful, man.
And I have you to thank.
How's that?
For some of my growth.
Tell me.
Because I'd never seen a comic actor writer who discussed faith. And faith definitely played a piece of this journey for me as well. And I'm sure that we know some of the same people where for a while, and I grew up in a very religious household on top of that. I'll say we grew up Episcopalian, Catholic light, I guess, very much in the church all of the time, and being told, you're going to go to hell if you don't live a good life, and that's partially why I never wanted to delve into the sexuality thing. When you're around a bunch of other people that think that they are the smartest people in the room, inevitably faith comes up, and everyone's like, there's no God. There's no data. All we have, it's our intellect and life and what we do, and we enjoy it here, and we're going to do that because we're all and those are the smartest people in the room. And I fell in with some of them for a while because I kind of wanted to let my faith go because things didn't make sense. But it wasn't until therapy and seeing people like yourself talk about faith in a very specific way and not beating people over the head with it, going, I need to have a relationship with my faith. So whether I call it God or a higher power or whatever I speak to, I know I need that. And it was great to see someone else that tells jokes and makes funny speak about it in a positive and bright way, but with conviction. I went, oh, and this dude's brilliant. So you don't have to, smart does not equate being a godless or faithless person. You got to believe in something.
Right. Yeah, and you do believe in something. That's what my joke about God or nothing. It's like you do believe in something. Like let's look at the differing beliefs or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So you're making a choice in the non-choice or whatever you want to say.
And they don't see that, but thank you.
Right. I really appreciate that. You know what? For me, what I didn't realize I wanted to be, but what I'm glad that has started to happen is unembarrassed. So you say conviction, and there is conviction, and I'll agree that there's some intelligence. I put a lot of work into those jokes, but there's also like something I think powerful about somebody talking about, again, the meaning of life, consciousness, awareness, being, whatever you want to say, God, without being embarrassed. That means this person, me, has found a way to hold in my heart that isn't shameful. We used to go to church and they would sing, I am not ashamed of the gospel. I was like, why would you be? Oh, right. Because there's all these other things that we believe other than just the good news. We believe in like all these people are going to hell. We believe in being whatever the sexuality is, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I was like, that's why we have to bolster ourselves up and be like, I am not ashamed. It's like, why would you be? If you look at what Jesus is saying,
you have to feel it.
There's no reason to be ashamed of being aligned with that belief.
But it's easy to fall into. Well, maybe not for everyone, but I'm just saying personally, it's easy to fall into that and feel, well, I really don't want to talk about that stuff.
Of course not.
I'm ashamed of it right now.
But that was the big revelation was I was like, I was ashamed. Like as long as you bring atonement theory into it and sin into it and hell into it and believe this turn or burn sort of stuff, then that is why you have to like be like, and I'm proud of it. Once you find out that God is a lover, not a tormentor, then you're not ashamed at all. And when you realize that it's looking out your eyes right now and it's all just kind of like a beautiful, strange dream it's having.
The thing that I aspire for, and I feel that in the talk about faith, and it comes back to everything that we've talked about, that journey, is at some point, and I'm working on it, I'd love to have as much faith in something as my grandmother did.
Oh, wow.
When she passed, and the older you get, we all have these thoughts of mortality now and everything. When she passed a couple of years ago, that started another piece of the mortality clock. And I realized that I was jealous of my grandmother for a second, because for her to pass, and I watched her transition and leave this world.
Oh, wow.
I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that old lady was not afraid, because she knew beyond a shadow of a doubt, you could not tell her, that she was going to whatever her reward was. And that's when a little bit of that thing that I had started to cultivate broke down, because I thought, wow, to have that faith, not just in God, but to have that faith in yourself, because we are of him, and to have that faith in yourself, and then to have that faith in your fellow man, and then to have faith in things. I went, oh, maybe I can that's how you don't walk around mad and angry and a negative asshole sometimes when you're not on stage. Have faith that things are going to be okay and put that on there. Then I can be a better man. I can be a better husband to someone one day. I can be a better father. I can be better on stage because I can really show up bright and it's not an act.
That's right. And you recognize your shared reality. I try to remember that when I'm on stage. It's like we're all just kind of performing for ourselves. It's all this little dance we're doing to delight ourselves, but like not me and audience, but like this thing we're all creating together, or me and guest. It's like this little space we're creating together.
Yes.
That's when you start to recognize who you really are. I believe it's Chinese Zen have this expression that dying is like a vase and it breaks and the air inside the vase just disperses into the air in the room. And it sounds like your grandmother knew who she was. And when you know who you are, and in religious language, when you say, when you know yourself to be a child of God, you know you're going to your Father. It's right there in front of you, right? Jesus says your son's, he's the Son of God and we're to be like him, or the prodigal son. Remember, I always go to the prodigal son. You can go back to your father's house, but you were his son, meaning you're of him, is what you said. So don't be afraid of yourself.
Don't be afraid. And that goes back to the love yourself thing.
That's right.
Well, if you're saying that you've got faith and you love him, then you got to love you. And if you love you, then you love him. Then you love your fellow man. All of the things that it's cool to be skeptical. It's cool to be skeptical. It's cool to make fun of things. It's cool to get online and flame people immediately. And when folks say, well, I'm running to the comment section because you've been all that shit, there's no need. I look at all that behavior as when you don't believe in something, that's when it's easy to pick somebody else's thing apart. And I didn't want to be part of that anymore. I want to use whatever time I have left to build. And it just goes back to, if I say that I want to be on stage and be funny and this is the rest of my life and all the creative things that I do, I can't show up and be funny, or I can't write music like I do, or I can't, now I've started to write sci-fi and do this. I can't play. I can't do any things I want to do if I'm a bitter asshole.
That's right.
I can't do any of those things.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be a bitter asshole if I don't love myself and have faith.
Yeah. That's great, man. I'm glad. It's who cares what I think, but you seem like you're shining bright.
I do.
You're shining bright.
And I see that in you too.
Well, I'm thrilled. It makes me, it'll bum me out for a long time if I have a guest on and I'm like, yikes. Like, I just don't know if they figured it out. And I love seeing you figuring it out. It's really nice to see.
That's all we can do.
That's right. Oh, well, we have literally 2 minutes. Can you tell me the time you laughed harder in your life than any other time?
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
You want to think while I read a comment?
Yes.
Guys, if you want to help the show, one of the really nice things you can do is rate the show. I'm looking for the text. Where is it, Katie? There it is. And leave a comment on iTunes. And here's one maybe we'll read on the show. This is from BRare93. The wisdom, he says, required listening, 5 stars. You don't have to listen to this. You can think of your story. The wisdom within these interviews over the years is essential listening for anyone interested in comedy at any level. If there was a comedy university class, this would be required listening on every syllabus. No other comedy interview podcast comes close. Scroll around, find a comedian you like, and listen to the interview. It's the best. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Help support the show. There's so many podcasts, and I'm very proud of the show. I want people to hear it. So share it, text it to a friend, or maybe leave us a nice comment like that.
That's awesome. Well, I found this comment for your show as well. Because you got to take the good with the bad, man.
Oh, no.
Pete, you're not black enough. I don't.
Paul Mooney jumped on there?
Paul, God bless him.
God bless him. God bless him.
Ouija board Mooney.
Black enough.
The time that I've left, I can't even say, man, I've been lucky enough like you to just
get a lot of laughs.
I know I've laughed, belly laughs, but I think the times that I've laughed the hardest have been when I'm in the flow state on stage with my buddy Jonathan. and I'm in that childlike place where I've laughed so hard that it hurts my stomach.
Yeah.
And a couple times, no shame in my game. I've laughed so hard on stage with Jonathan that I just ripped one.
I thought you were going to say pee your pants.
Oh,
Ripping one is a high compliment.
Peeing your pants, how gauche. No, lowbrow.
That's so funny.
No, just laughing and
Yeah.
and
Little solo.
A little solo. And now the horn section. Take it, Louie. So that's when I've laughed the hardest.
That's wonderful. The times I've made a friend, usually a female friend who's had a baby, no shade there, pee their pants in the audience. I'm like, a friend told me that she peed her pants at my show, and I didn't know what to say. And this is a true story. I went, I like her to make her you pee. That's what I said.
I like her to make her you pee.
Why like a weird Mario Italian? I like her to make her you pee. I didn't know what to say. You know what? Don't tell me you peed your pants. There's no right answer to that.
That character obviously loved, that's his job.
Yeah. I like her to make you pee.
I'm the pee specialist. I travel from town to town. I make an LMNT pee.
You have a sleepover, put a friend's hand in the warm water? I like her to make you pee.
That'll be $5.
That's Wayne, what an honor. Would you say keep it crispy? Check out Family Remix.
The Family Remix on
Hulu.
Freeform on Hulu.
And
streaming on
go
Hulu.
see you live. Clearly, if you're ripping farts.
You see me live. Ripping
ripping
away.
ass.
You can catch
Get in the front
every
row.
single day. Let's Make a Deal on CBS.
Incredible.
And Whose Line Is It Anyway just started its latest season on the CW.
And in the upcoming Batmans.
And in the upcoming Batmans that I will
We would be
producing. It's amazing that I'm actually
no one's holding you to that.
Producing
no
it.
one.
It's,
I'm embarrassed that I even said it.
I just got a text from my accountant. He said, yeah. So I'm producing it. So
look, man, this is how deals get done.
that's how. Hey,
Would you say keep it crispy?
keep it crispy, baby.
Oh, got a baby. Thank you, Wayne. Get out of here. You're going to be
Thanks,
late.
man.
You were awesome.
You made it weird. You made it weird.